We now have Vishal Talreja, co-founder and trustee of Dream a Dream, which he created along with 11 other people. Dream a Dream is a registered charitable trust empowering children and young people from vulnerable backgrounds to overcome adversity and flourish in the 21st century using a creative life skills approach. Vishal is an Ashoka Fellow, an Eisenhower Fellow, a Salzburg Global Fellow, and a board member at BYE Global. Recently, he has been recognized as Innovator of the Year by 100.org, which looks to identify and recognize 100 global innovations on K 12 education from across the world. Today, he will be sharing insights on the Happiness Curriculum, which is a Delhi government initiative towards reimagining education towards well being. Vishal would love to take questions from the audience towards the end of the session. I request you all to post your questions in the comment section. Thank you so much. Welcome, Vishal. Over to you.
Thank you, Anu. It's a huge honor and pleasure to be part of Inspire It 2020. Thank you to the Firki team and the Teach for India team for inviting me. As Anu mentioned, I represent Dream a Dream, an organization that has been around for 20 years, creating uh, programs, services, and systemic change approaches to help children growing up in adversity learn to thrive. Today, I'm here to talk to you about a special initiative that we were part of in partnership with the Delhi government, the Happiness Curriculum. The story of the Happiness Curriculum starts way back in 2018 when we had an opportunity to meet Atishi Vadlena, who was the advisor to Manish Sisodia, the Deputy CM and Minister of Education at Delhi. And they were sharing with us that when Mr. Sisodia visits schools and interacts with students, most of the students seem disengaged with education. They don't feel motivated or excited to come to school. And he wanted to change that. He wanted to change the relationship that children have with the school and the teacher from that of fear and disengagement to joy and well-being, which is where the genesis of the happiness curriculum came in. One might ask, why happiness? Well, if you look at the statistics around us itself, India's global ranking in the World Happiness Index is very low. 30% of the children living in poverty across the world live in India. One of four children in India struggle with depression, and depression is the second largest cause of teenage suicide. And 47 million children in India drop out of school by grade 10. These indicators point out there's something fundamentally wrong with our education system. That over the last few decades, education has become so focused on academics and achieving academic excellence that we've forgotten that education is also about character building. It's about our own well-being. It's about helping us, as Manishji says, helping us learn to be happy ourselves and learn to make others happy. So these ideas were really the genesis of the happiness curriculum for Delhi government. As we started talking with teachers and students and trying to understand more about what role can the happiness curriculum play, these are the objectives that we came about. One is primarily to help children and young people develop a sense of self-awareness and mindfulness, help them develop the skills that they need to engage with life itself, like critical thinking, inquiry, help them develop the life skills that they need to deal with stress and conflict in their life in situations around them, help them learn to build a sense of self-identity, confidence, and ability to communicate and express themselves and express their emotions, help them develop empathy for themselves and for people around them and for nature, and help them develop a sense of social awareness and values that will help them engage with society itself. So keeping these objectives in mind, we went about to develop the happiness curriculum. It was a joint effort where about 5 NGOs were invited in, including Dream a Dream. We had a host of 16 mentor teachers from the Directorate of Education in Delhi, counselors, and people from a department called the Cell for Human Values and Transformative Learning that the Delhi government had. This team went about and thinking about this vision of happiness and well-being that we wanted to promote in schools, and how we could bring that alive through a curriculum. Uh, the methodology was that it has to be engaging, experiential, it has to be joyful, it has to be something that kids are looking forward to, which is why we then brought in mindfulness practices, joyful exercises, indoor games, storytelling as a very strong pedagogical approach, role plays, uh, and the way to then help children develop the sense of self-awareness and values and life skills that we believe children need was through active inquiry, asking the right kind of questions, having reflective conversations, and mindfulness practices. One of the key pieces that we needed to think through was that the curriculum needed to be connected to children's real lives. It cannot be something that's disconnected to their real lives, especially children who are first generation schoolgoers, which is nearly 80% of the kids who go into government school systems across Delhi. Ensuring that the learning happens through engagement and joy and experiential practices and not through rote learning. Uh, a key aspect that direction that we got from the directorate was that we do not want to have a summative assessment of this curriculum. We don't want to convert it into a subject. We want this to be an experience for the children and the teachers. So there were no summative assessments designed for this curriculum. And how do we help teachers take ownership for this curriculum? So we had to design a curriculum that was intuitive, which teachers could just pick up and connect it to their own lives and to who they are and their own identities, and bring it alive for the children. Uh, the curriculum outline was also focused on what we call the happiness triad, which looked at the surface level, it is about momentary happiness, joy that comes from in the moment when we experience something. But moving beyond that, how could we also design the curriculum that helps children recognize, understand, and embody deeper happiness, which is harmony in feelings, and sustainable happiness, which is really learning to be self-aware and socially aware, and engage with life and engage with people around you. The pedagogical tools in the design of the curriculum that we used were mindfulness practices, which is really to help children learn to kind of go within themselves, learn to focus, learn to pay attention, learn to start looking at events in their life objectively, and learn to stay in the present. Stories that were again taken from lives around the children. These are real stories that were taken, and stories that would connect to children's realities. Activities that used a lot of art and play, which would help create engagement and also develop the life skills that we wanted this curriculum to develop. Uh, and the fourth tool was expression, which is really helping children create the vocabulary to articulate their emotions, to articulate their reflections, and to learn to develop skills around gratitude, respect for one another, sense of dignity, value for one another. The happiness session itself is delivered to all kids from kindergarten to grade 8. And it's usually the first 3 periods of the day. So in most schools, children start the day with a happiness class. It's a 35-minute session, which starts with 5 minutes of a mindfulness practice. And then the days are divided into these different activities. So on Monday, there's a focus on deep mindfulness, so 35 minutes of mindfulness. On Tuesday, there's 5 minutes of mindfulness, but about 25 minutes of storytelling and reflections around stories, and then closing with a mindfulness exercise. On Thursday and Friday, the use of play and art to develop activities and reflections around that. And Saturday is spent on helping children express what they've learned through the day, expressed through plays, through a skit, through an artwork, but finding different ways which will help children express what they've learned through the week. To give you an example of how the curriculum actually works in action, here are 2 examples, one from grade 1. Uh, so here it was about how to help children observe one's surroundings and begin to develop a sense of mindfulness and being present in the moment. So the activities around breathing exercises and through a process of meditation, helping children kind of learn to listen to voices around them, experience voices around them, experiences voices that are around them, but they usually don't listen to, they don't hear. So build in a sense of awareness of the self and social awareness. And then through a reflection process, helping children then develop that practice of mindfulness. In grade six, an activity around developing empathy, respect, and gratitude is again a discussion around, could be a real life experience of where one has probably felt that it didn't receive empathy or didn't receive respect or gratitude. How did that make them feel? And then through those reflective questions, helping children then develop an understanding of what is empathy, what is respect, what is gratitude. The project itself was kicked off in February 2008. The curriculum was launched in April 2018. So it's been now running for 2 years. Like I said, it's for all kids from kindergarten to grade 8, which is in all 1,024 schools across the Delhi government. About 21,000 teachers transact and deliver this curriculum on a daily basis to about 800,000 students. We did conduct an external evaluation by Brookings Institution, who have also helped us now develop tools to measure the impact of this curriculum on students and teachers. These are some of the testimonials or stories that we have heard. This is a young student who talks about how she found courage and confidence through the happiness classes to be able to make someone become aware of how they were causing pollution, and helped her then change behavior of that individual. So this is an amazing example of how the happiness classes have been helping build a sense of identity, a sense of care for nature, for society, and finding the courage within you. This is a testimonial from a teacher who specifically talks about a student in her class who had multiple sclerosis and how the happiness curriculum again helped build confidence in this child to come forward and share their experiences and kind of engage with the class and make friends. So this was again a very exciting experience. In my own visits to some of these classes, I've seen in one class I observed a kid who was stammering, and I was talking to the teacher, and she was saying, "This kid never talks in class, never engages in any activities, but since the happiness classes have started, she's always putting up her hand and wanting to share her thoughts, wanting to share how she's feeling." And this is a beautiful experience of a parent who talks about how she had to take her child away from a private school to a government school because they were struggling financially, and how she used to be stressed, and how her daughter, having been participating in the happiness classes, has been coming back to her and kind of taking care of her and helping her think more positively. And now they kind of jointly work around the problems that they have in life and respond to them. So what we have seen is that the happiness curriculum has definitely helped build better relationships between students and teachers, increase children's participation in classes, and increase focus and mindfulness among students. Uh, it has also helped students then go back and take this into their own life and improve their relationships with their families, with their friends, with the communities. For the teachers itself, as we started looking at how teacher behavior has changed, obviously one question that everyone keeps asking us is that you have 35 minutes of the happiness class where the teacher is joyful and engaging, but what happens for the rest of the day? And we are beginning to see a very definite behavior shift in teachers, where they take this idea across the school day and engage with children in all the other subjects also with a sense of engagement and joy now. Teachers also learning to value the well-being of children over academic success. They're changing their approaches to teaching, bringing in more art and play, and it has also increased collaboration between teachers. Brookings Institution also did a curriculum analysis to look at whether the curriculum itself is meeting the objectives. And we saw that in most of the areas, the curriculum is meeting the objectives that we set out to achieve, which is around improving self-awareness, social awareness, helping develop life skills, improving relationships and communication skills, and mindfulness practices. That's it. I'll probably take a pause here and take if there are any questions.
Yes, Vishal, we can take some questions now. We have a lot of interesting questions on YouTube. To begin with, I think people want to know that what training are teachers receiving to implement this curriculum?
Yeah, I think that's a good question. Like I said, because we knew we had to launch this curriculum at a large scale in 1,000 odd schools and 21,000 teachers, we designed the curriculum to be intuitive. Having said that, Delhi government very uniquely has a cadre of mentor teachers, about 200 mentor teachers, who are teachers who have been taken off teaching jobs to now support schools in some of these new initiatives. So we have trained 200 mentor teachers on pedagogical approaches around understanding child behavior, child psychology, developing the skills, facilitative skills that are needed to, say, be authentic in the classroom, be a better listener, build trust and safety in the classroom. And these mentor teachers then visit one school every day of the week, sit in on the happiness class sessions, observe the teachers, and it's not so much giving feedback, but provide support to the teachers about how they can integrate the happiness curriculum. All the schools also have happiness coordinators. These are specific teachers in addition to other roles, also are core to the happiness curriculum. They deliver the happiness curriculum in the school. So they have gone through almost 2 days of training every year on the transaction of the curriculum.
Great. Just a follow up question for that. How can teachers access this curriculum even if they're not in Delhi?
The curriculum is an open source. It was designed in Hindi, and I think recently we as Dreamery have also got it translated in English. So we are happy to share it with anyone who's interested. If they can send us an email, or even the happiness classes have a Facebook page and a Twitter page. They could just put in a comment there, and someone will send it to them.
Thanks for that. Just one last question. How to implement the curriculum in online classes, considering that everyone is now teaching online?
Yeah, I think this is a great question. In fact, something that the Delhi government did very well through the lockdown and the school closures, especially with the happiness curriculum, was one is they started running YouTube channels on happiness classes, and a lot of the stories and activities went into this YouTube channel, which you can have a look at. In addition to that, they set up an IVRS system where any parent could give a missed call to a number, and then they'll get a call back, and then a session from the happiness curriculum will be kind of a story or an activity will be read out, and then the parents can then run that activity with the students, with their children at home. And we have actually got feedback that many parents have quite enjoyed this as a family activity, a storytelling activity that they can do as a family. So the Delhi government did respond to this very well with an IVRS system and sessions on YouTube.
Great, great. Thank you so much, Vishal, for taking out time for Inspired and being here with us live today. It was really insightful, and I'm sure our audience is also taking back a lot from this conversation. Thank you so much, Vishal.
Thank you, Anu. It was a pleasure to be here.